Fantastic. Yay. Well, thank you so much for joining in for some Pilates for Peace and getting a chance to collect some donations that we had a chance to share towards our Ukrainian families. So, within that, getting some breath, decompress, some grounding into our bodies as well, because being in that healing space within our own vessels, right, just kind of allows that to expand beyond us as well. We're going to do a very short little element standing, and then we'll come to the floor. So standing, giving yourself just a little bit of space to begin. I'm going to place those feet underneath your hip sockets, giving yourself some room, some softness in the knee, and then just taking some nice large deep breaths. Let's work through the arms. We're going to inhale and reach all the way up to the sky, and then exhale as you release. And let's do that again. Inhale, reaching all the way up through the fingertips. And then exhale, release. And one more time like that. Inhale as you reach. And exhale, release. Fantastic. From there, just bending those knees right over those toes and lengthening through. And bend and lengthen. And one more time, bend and lengthen. Then floating through the feet, let's lift it up through the ankles and press down. And lengthening through and press down. And one more time like that, lifting up and press down. And then going to lift through that right heel, gently pressing into the toes, creating a little activation in the foot, and release down. And lifting through the left side and release. Let's do that one more time. Right side and release, and left side and release. And then bending those knees, create a little softness, taking out the hamstrings here. Allowing the tailbone to drop towards the floor, starting to scoop those abs and ribs in, feeling that hug around the waistline, and then rounding forward one vertebrae at a time, getting a chance to check in with the spine. Let the arms drape, let the shoulders relax, let your head hang towards the floor. And then when you get to the max of that stretch, scoop the core muscles in and begin rolling yourself back up, rounding through the body, rounding through the spine, all the way back up to stand. And let's do that incorporating some breath. Inhale as you round down, rolling through the body, feeling out the vertebrae, and exhale as you release towards the floor. And inhale, scooping the abdominal muscles in towards you. Begin rolling the body back up, rounding through that spine, one vertebrae at a time. And exhale. And one last time like that. Inhale as you round, getting a chance to just check in with all of the various pieces. Have a little conversation. Hear the body out. Exhale as you drape forward. And inhale as you round yourself back up, rolling through the body, rounding through the spine, all the way back up to stand. Fantastic. Relaxing through the legs. And let's take those shoulders and rolling them back. And then add the elbows, starting to expand across the chest. And then the whole arm. 2 and 1. And then reverse. Start with the shoulders. And then add the elbows. And then the whole entire arm. 2 and 1. Fantastic. All right, coming to the foot end of your workout space, whatever that's going to be for you today. And let's go and cross one foot over the other. Feeling out the inner thigh, starting to lengthen the tailbone towards the floor, abs and ribs wrapping towards you. And then float those arms in front of you, scooping through the abdominal muscles. So you're lifting the weight off of those feet. Let's come straight down with control. Now, at a certain part, it will kind of feel like your legs are in the way, right? And I want you to shift. Place your hands towards the floor. Shift your back heel towards the floor so you can come down with control. And then uncross. Very nice. And then scoot into the middle of your space. Let's bring those feet lining up with the hip sockets, hands behind your knees, and take a deep inhale as you round across the spine. And then exhale up long and tall. And inhale as you round. Allow the shoulders to spread and widen. And exhale tall. And one more time like that. Inhale and round, expanding through those back ribs. And exhale, tall. Fantastic. From there, let's take those hands behind you, fingers pointing in the same direction as those toes. A softness in the elbow as you lift through the chest, right? So expanding through the front of the body, finding the pliability in that stretch that your body is welcoming. Take those knees up and over to your right side as you roll across the glute, and then up and over to your left side. Nice. And to the right, kind of rolling across the glute, getting some space into those hips. And to the left. Breathing into that. Let's go to the right. And to the left. And one more full set like that. To the right. And to the left. And then bringing that back to center. Walk those hands up. And let's go ahead and walk the ankles and the knees together, starting to feel out the inner thighs. Reach those arms forward, and then take your time as you roll back down, one vertebrae at a time, rolling through the spine to place yourself onto the floor. As you come to the floor, feel free to adjust where those feet are placed so that feels comfortable on your lower joints. And then hands go behind your head and using your arms here, so no neck muscles needed. Use your arms to curl the head up. Draw the chin towards your chest. Feel that width in the shoulder blades and take a full deep breath. And a huge exhale. And release the head back down, slightly drawing the chin towards your chest. So you're getting some length and traction in the back of the neck. And then let's float those arms up to the ceiling. Inhale and peel that right shoulder off the floor. Lengthen the fingertips to the sky. And exhale as you release. Inhale through that left arm. And exhale, release. Inhale right. And exhale. And inhale left. And exhale. Inhaling right. And exhale, release. And inhaling left. And exhale. Nice. One more full set like that. Right arm. Exhale, throw it away. And inhale, left arm. And exhale, release. Pausing there as you're feeling some width in the upper back, some space across that upper spine, and then round through the arms. So we're soften the elbows, allow the fingers to point towards each other. As we're doing this, begin to expand the spine across the floor from the back of the neck through the upper back, through the lower back, and out through the tailbone. Abs and ribs wrapping to your center, starting to feel that hug around the core muscles. And then keep that as you inhale those arms wide, expanding across the chest. And then exhale as you cross one arm over the other. Inhale as you open wide. And exhale the other arm on top. And inhaling wide. And exhale. And inhaling wide. And exhale. One more full set. Inhale, expand. And exhale. And inhale wide. And exhale. And then floating those arms back up to the ceiling. Allow the shoulders to rest onto the floor. Rotate your palms towards your head and long elbows. And let's start exaggerating this a bit as we flex and extend through the wrist. Long fingertips, long palms, starting to create a nice stretch down the forearm, down the wrist. And taking the alternating quality within this to allow ourselves to expand that stretch just a little bit more each time, right? Always in agreement with where the body would like to go within that. 2 and 1. And then taking both those hands, and let's draw them into a fist, except for the pinky. Go ahead and point that pinky defiantly up to the sky. And then take that pinky and let's draw a circle with it for 3 and 2 and 1. And then reverse that for 3 and 2 and 1. And then put that pinky away and do what you can to point your ring finger out all by itself. And within this, think very, very little intensity. And then circling that finger around for 3 and 2 and 1. And then reversing 3 and 2 and 1. And then the or the middle finger is going to point out nice and long and tall, and big circle there for 3 and 2 and 1, and reverse that 3 and 2 and 1. And then that pointer index finger, big circle there for 3 and 2 and 1, and reversing 3 and 2 and 1. And now your thumb, ready, big circle within that thumb, 3, 2, and 1, and reverse that 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Go and wiggle through those fingers. Little hand dance here. And let's take those hands into fists and circle the wrists around. 3 and 2 and 1, and reverse that. 3 and 2 and 1. Fantastic. Shake it out. Little shake as you relax those arms down along your sides or wherever that feels good and comfortable and opening through the chest. All right, so feeling hopefully a little bit more length in the back of the body through the neck and across the chest and the shoulders. Starting to work now through the pelvis. Tiny movement here. We're going to begin tucking the tailbone under. Dive the abs in towards you. And then arching the tailbone back so you start waking up those lower back muscles. And tucking the tailbone under. And then arching the tailbone back. Range of motion, right? Whatever feels best for your body. One more. Tucking under. And then arching back. And then bringing the hips into center. So starting to feel out length across the front and the back. And now allow your thighs to stay where they are. So create a little pivot. We're going to lift that right hip towards the sky. So you're expanding across that hip. And then release the hip down. Nice. And then lifting your left hip up. And releasing down. And right hip lifts. And release down. And left hip lifts. And release. Nice. Let's do one last set like that. Right hip. And release. And left hip. And release. Fantastic. Starting to feel out a little more space around the hips. Let's go ahead and hug those knees towards you and allow your lower body weight just to begin to relax into the floor. So you can feel this kind of ease, maybe a little warmth into your lower back muscles. As we're hanging out there, still scooping the abdominal muscles in, wrapping the rib cage so your core is gently pressing the low back towards the floor. And breathing into the back ribs. Let's take a deep breath here. And one more like that, please. And then keeping those knees glued together, let's bring the hands to the knees and gently circle them around, massaging the lower back onto the floor for 3 and 2 and 1. And then reversing that for 3 and 2 and 1. Fantastic. Drawing those legs into tabletop so we can start feeling out those inner thighs. Abs and ribs pulled in, but take a moment to really lengthen through the back of the hips. And then, lengthen across those shoulders and out through the neck. So we get inner thighs, abs, ribs, shoulders. And now ready for our low back stretch. Inhale both knees to your right. And then exhale to center. And inhaling left. And exhale to center. Nice. Inhale right. And exhale to center. Waking up those lungs. Inhaling left. And exhale to center. Beautiful. Inhale and exhale. Wrap the ribs towards your center. Inhale and exhale. Scoop the belly in and up. And one last full set. Inhale and exhale to center. And inhale and exhale to center. Leaving the legs there for a quick moment. Hands go behind your head. And choose a direction. You get to choose which way you'd like to start. Roll to one side. And let's go ahead and close those elbows. Knees are stacked, squeezing the inner thighs. Take a moment to reach through the spine, tailbone to head, abs, ribs. Find that length into your lower back. And now we're ready for upper back stretch. So we're going to open this top elbow, begin expanding across the chest, and then exhale as you close. And inhale as you open, expanding through the shoulder. And exhale, close. And inhale as you open. And exhale, close. One more time like that, please. Inhale and open. And exhale, close. Adding on. Inhale and open. And then exhale, extend across this top arm. And pause here as you breathe into this long diagonal from your top hip across the waistline out through the fingertips. And if you would like, it's an option. You can flex through that hand so that the fingers point down, reaching out through the heel of the hand. If that feels like too much, though, please do not worry about it. Swooping through that hand, we're going to draw that hand down towards your hip and then exhale up. And I want to go for a deep, deep, huge breath on this. Inhaling down and exhale as you lengthen behind you. Inhale down and exhale, expelling through the lungs. Inhale, we get two more. And exhale. And one last time, inhale down and exhale up. Beautiful. Bring that hand back to your head and use your abs to scoop you in to face the side. Abs and ribs stay pulled in, and it's going to roll completely to your opposite side to reverse. Fantastic. Once you get there, right, find the length of your spine and then inner thighs, abs, and ribs. Double check where are the shoulders. Want to take them out of your ears just a little bit. Yes. And now twisting. Inhale as you open, expanding through the chest, and exhale as you close. And inhale as you open, keeping the ribs drawn together, and exhale. Awesome. Inhale as you open, and exhale. One more time like that. Inhale and open and exhale. Adding on. Inhale and open. And then exhale, extend across that arm, reaching out of the armpit, out of the shoulder. Feel this long diagonal through the body. Take an extra breath there. And if you'd like, add the flex of the hand. Inhale that hand down to your hip. And exhaling up, opening through the chest. Inhaling down. And exhale as you lengthen across. Beautiful. Inhaling down. And exhale as you open through the chest. Two more like that. Inhale, abs scoop in. And exhale up. And one last time. Inhaling down. And exhale as you reach. Hand comes back to your head. And then scoop to face the side. Fantastic. Coming back into the center of your space. Let's go ahead and bring those knees towards your armpits, getting a little stretch around the hip sockets. And in this, we're going for a long tailbone. So we're going for a stretch across the spine, which will most likely bring a little extra heat into the hip sockets themselves, right? Starting to feel up the hip flexors, starting to feel all those wonderful little muscles out. Creating a little warmth in the feet. Let's flex through the toes and the ankles and then point all the way through. And then flexing all the way back and pointing all the way through. And one more time like that, flexing all the way back and pointing all the way through. And then use those ankles and toes, circles for 3 and 2 and 1. And then reversing that for 3 and 2 and 1. Fantastic. And now use the hands on the knees. Let's circle the knees in opposite directions so we can feel out the hips for 3 and 2 and 1. And then reversing that for 3 and 2 and 1. Beautiful. Placing those feet on the floor about hip distance apart, but relatively close. Arms are going to go into a nice wide T, expanding across the shoulders. And within this, I want to actually see if we can create a little deeper stretch there. Take a small range of motion here. We're going to lift that right arm gently off the floor and then just reach it a little further out and release it down. And then lift your left arm slightly off the floor and reach it just a little further out and release. It's hopefully feeling even just a tiny bit more space in that upper back. Now, for this, we're going to draw the chin way down towards the chest. So we're going to add a little work into the upper spine. This is going to create some traction of the upper spine. So feet are, like I said, hip distance apart, but we're going to hug that space with the inner thighs. Scoop the core in towards you, begin diving the abdominal muscles in, and we roll the pelvis off the floor one vertebrae at a time. So we start ending up in a shoulder bridge position. Now, all of this work is coming from the front of the core. That is actually, I think, the biggest challenge, right? That you're doing this from your abs and not from your glutes. And if the glutes try to activate, you may actually be going higher than what your core can handle, right? Thinking more about where we're initiating and where we're supporting ourselves from rather than what the size of the exercise ends up being. Feeling the inner thighs, the abs, the ribs. Go ahead and slowly roll the spine back down, peeling the spine back onto the floor and round the tailbone at the end. So you can start feeling out a little bit more space in the spine as well. Inner thighs, abs, and ribs. Let's go ahead and tuck that tailbone under as you peel the spine off the floor, one vertebrae at a time. Feeling also this nice little stretch across your quadriceps and across those hips. And at the very top, let's take a full deep breath. Inhale. And a nice big exhale. And then go to roll yourself back down, rounding through the spine, rolling through the hips, and releasing the tailbone at the end. Now we're going to add on to that. So just double check the chin is slightly tucked down and the head is centered. The shoulders are wide. Inner thighs, abs, and ribs, tuck that tailbone under. Let's roll the hips up from the core. Right? So again, all from your abdominal muscles. Now, adding to that, not replacing, but adding, so keeping the abs activated, keeping the ribs activated. You get to choose this, however much intensity feels good to you. Slightly begin pressing into the feet. And this is going to create a traction, a little push of your upper spine across the floor. Right? And as you're doing that, some bodies might kind of contract at first, right? You might feel your shoulders kind of grab. And if that's the response, maybe ease off just a little bit and see what you can do to intentionally relax the upper body. Allow this push to be kind of a sense of you are secure on the floor. You're very safe here. And you're adding a sense of warmth as you press into the legs and slightly pressing the skull away from your shoulders and allowing the upper back and the neck muscles to gain a little bit more space and ease. And again, you are choosing how much push you place into that, how much intensity you place into that. Not necessarily the most intense is not necessarily the best for us, right? So feeling it out for you, you are going to probably feel your legs start to get a little activated, a little warm on that. Let's take 2 more deep breaths there. And 1 more. And then gently release the push in the legs, wrap the core, and then take your time as you roll the spine all the way back and down. Fantastic. Go ahead and draw those knees back towards the armpits. Bring the feet towards the ceiling, holding on to the shins or the feet. You get to choose. And let's rock it out in a little happy baby. Finding some ease in the lower back and the hips. And you can either motivate this from the legs or you can motivate it from the actual pelvis. But just taking a nice Gentle breath within that. Finding some openness through the joints, but also finding some warmth in those muscles. And one more breath there. And then releasing through that. All right. Going into hundreds. And this hundreds is about the fullness of the lungs, right? So how big of an inhale you can take, and then how big of an exhale you can take, so that we get that deep cleansing action happening through the body that can kind of release, detox, de-stress, anything that you need to get out of the body, right? Put into that exhale. So within this, we always have options for these legs. The legs can either be on the floor, kind of as far from you as you comfortably can, and have the foot flat, or you can draw those legs up into tabletop, or you can lengthen those legs up to the sky. If the legs are long, you're welcome to stay parallel or wrap the heels together and the toes apart. All of these options are for you to get more into your core, right? So you're always choosing what feels better for your body to get less in your quadriceps and hips and more into your abs, right? So feel that out for you today. No judgment one way or the other. And wherever the leg position is going to be, know that you can always adjust to as you're going through the exercise. Now, from those ribs, let's feel this nice curl. From the rib cage, round the upper body off the floor. Find length in the neck. Find length through the shoulders. Reach to those fingertips. Huge deep breaths with arm pumps. Here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Expel the lungs. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Reach through the shoulders. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Use the core. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Expel the breath. Then 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Deepen the lungs. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. You have 2 more, and 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Wrap the waistline. Last one. 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release those legs down long and take the arms all the way overhead. Feeling a little warmer, feeling those core muscles. Exactly. And all of that online. So we're working through the fingers. Take a moment to work through the fingers and the toes, just kind of wiggling those very furthest points. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then moving the hands and the feet. And that could be any kind of movement. You can circle it, you can flex and point, you can kitty paw, whatever feels good, just to bring some movement into those hands and feet. All right. Now from there, let's take a small little bend of the knees so we can place the feet flat on the floor, but kind of as far from you as you comfortably can. And start feeling out the inner thighs. Squeezing those legs together. Dive the abs and the ribs in. So you're gently drawing the low back towards the floor. And then out the shoulders. Let's see what we can do to slide those shoulders down the back, away from the ears, giving the neck some space. Now going into our roll-up is a nice opportunity in the similar type of way that we were doing standing, right? It was really the same idea. Gravity's in a different orientation, obviously, right? But now it gives us an opportunity to really check in a little bit more minutely between every vertebrae as we go. So hands come up to the ceiling, chin comes into the chest. Use a deep inhale as you round and lift up and out of those hips. And then exhale long and forward into the stretch, dropping the chin, widening through the shoulders. And inhale as you begin to roll yourself back down, squeezing the inner thighs, abs wrap, draw the ribs in, and exhale. Nice. Inhale as you round and lift up and out of the hips, And exhale long into that stretch. Fantastic. Inhale as you roll it back down, rounding through the body, rounding through that spine. And exhale. Let the movement really ride on that breath. Inhale as you scoop and lift through the waistline. And exhale forward. There you go. And inhale as you round it back down, rolling right through that center, lengthening through the spine. And exhale. Two more. Inhale as you round and lift through the waistline. Yes, yes, yes. Exhale long. And inhale as you roll back down, painting the spine across the floor. And exhale. Here's our last one. Inhale as you round and lift. And exhale forward. Awesome. Inhale and roll it back down, rounding through the body, rounding through that spine. And exhale. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and relax through those legs for a moment. So bringing them nice and long, they can be apart or together, whatever feels best for your hip sockets. And then draw those arms straight up to the ceiling. And within this, let's rotate the palms towards your head end and take a moment to relax the shoulders onto the floor, which they may need a little chat to get them to do that. But let's see what we can do to feel the broadness between the shoulder blades, feel the upper back. Now working at the elbow, so try to keep those elbows right over those shoulders, bending at the elbow to draw the arm down into a 90-degree angle, and then lengthen those arms up. So want to activate a little bit more in the your triceps, and not through the traps. So feeling that broadness through the shoulders as we work through the elbow, and bending down and lifting up, and bend down and lengthen through. And we get two more like that. And bend and lengthen. And one last time, bend and lengthen. Now from there, let's go ahead and bend the arm down into that 90-degree angle. And then we open the arms to the sides like goalposts, and then exhale the elbow right over those shoulders. Nice. Now, as you do that, see if you can still have the shoulders relaxed to the floor. Inhale wide, and then exhale as you lift just the arm. And inhale wide, and then exhale as you lift. Let's do that two more times. Inhale wide, and exhale. And one last time. Inhale wide, and exhale. Fantastic. Arms go long. Let's interlace the fingertips and flip the palms up, which might be a little stretch by itself. Allowing, again, those shoulders to relax onto the floor. Dive the ribs towards your center, and let's inhale those arms overhead, opening through the shoulders, and then exhale back to the ceiling. And inhale overhead, feeling that stretch through the torso, and exhale to the ceiling. Abs and ribs wrap towards you. Inhale overhead, and exhale to the ceiling. We get two more like that, please. Inhale overhead, and exhale. And one last time. Inhale overhead, and exhale. Releasing through those hands, and let's hug the knees in towards you. All right, getting ready for rolling like a ball. So we always have options for this one too, depending on what works best for our body. Legs can be either parallel with the hands behind the knees, or you're welcome to turn the legs out. So your toes, your knees, and your shoulders line up. And if you turn out, you're welcome to bring the hands anywhere down those shins that feels comfortable for you. And then start activating your low abdominal muscles. Tuck the tailbone under, feeling that low ab really activate. And then round the head and shoulders at the floor, feeling the rib cage activate. So within this, we start diving the abs into you to create that C curve through the spine. And then rocking yourself forward and back as many times you need to draw yourself up to sit. Fantastic. One more. There it is. And now scoop the core in, widen through the shoulders, and notice which part of your spine might be feeling maybe a little congested or a little compressed, right? See if you can bring a little more awareness into that part of the spine to find out where can you bring some support there, right? So if it's your lower back, that's going to be really diving the abdominal muscles in. If it's the middle back, let's see what we can do to maybe wrap the rib cage towards your center a bit more. If it's the upper back, let's see what we can do to widen the shoulder blades out to the side, and yet maybe actually adjusting where the elbows are placed. If it's more of the neck, see where does the chin need to go, where so you can get a little bit more space. And now breathing into this, we're going to rock to the upper back and back to sit. Inhale, round it back. And then exhale to sit and hold. And the breath is the essential part of this exercise, right? So inhale as you rock and exhale out. And inhale as you rock and exhale. Getting that lymphatic system moving. Inhale and exhale. Deep breath, and 5, and exhale, and 6, and exhale. Try to roll through that center. 7, and exhale, wide chest, and 8, and exhale, and 9, and exhale. And here we go, last one, 10, and exhale. And then relax those feet to the floor. Fantastic. I'm going to actually rotate towards you for this next one. Bringing the bottoms of the feet together as we start working into a little bit more of a butterfly stretch. Now within this, I would like to actually place a sense of an kind of push. Your legs are meeting with each other, right? And instead of letting the legs kind of flop wherever they would go, right? Think of pressing the feet into each other. Create a little intensity there. And this is going to help activate the hip in a way that's actually will be more supportive. It might feel like it creates a tightness right there because your muscles are activating, right? But we want to work within that. So feeling that, then use your abdominal muscles to think of lifting up long and tall. So notice if you're rounding across that lower back. Now, keeping all of that, that's what we build off of. We keep the length in the spine. Inhale and pitch the spine forward, kind of yawning the back of those hips open. And then exhale up tall. So we kind of ease our way into that. Inhale as you reach it forward. And then exhale long and tall. And one more time like that, please. Inhale and reach. And exhale tall. Nice, we're going to pause there at the bottom. Inhale wherever that stretches for you. And then exhale, adjusting those arms to your stretch. Now adding tiny little adjustments. Let's inhale long through the spine. And then exhale, if you can go a little deeper into that. Feel that out for you, right? No force, right? We're just seeing and exploring. On this next one, exhale, round through the spine. Let your head drape so you get that release in the back of the neck. Connecting and feeling out the fascia. That really connects the back of the neck along the sides of the spine and into the back of the hips. And wherever you are in that stretch, think of breathing and expanding your breath towards the back ribs. So we're using that Pilates breath to create support and space. And take one more nice long deep breath there. And then lengthen through the spine. We're going to stay in the stretch, but I want to go back into a long position. And now whole body, I will mirror you. Whole body is going to walk to your right diagonal. So within this diagonal, we're generally in front of the leg, but we're allowing the spine to lengthen outwards. And this is going to start activating a bit more stretch down the left side of your lower back. Let's breathe into those left ribs. Now, leaving the right hand on the floor, scoop through the core muscles and begin to rotate through your torso. Left arm's going to reach across you in that diagonal. Fantastic. Scoop the core muscles in. So everything is about length here, right? We're lengthening through the hip sockets. We're lengthening through the spine. And now drawing the shoulder up to your ear. We're going to create a little scrunch and release. And shrug and release. And one more time. Lift and release. Now deep breath within this. Take that arm behind you. Circle the arm all the way around and reach it through. And circle around and reach through. And one more time, circle around and reach through. And then reversing that. Let's draw that arm forward and then opening behind you. I know that's always the fun one. And 2, and reaching it across. Yes. And 1, and reach through. And then scoop through the core muscles. Rotate yourself back into that diagonal. Right? Hopefully it feels like you've gained a little bit more length on that. Slowly walk yourself up and over to your left diagonal. So again, we're working in front of the leg and we're finding length here. So instead of rounding through that back, see what we can do to expand in this long stretch. Still meeting the feet into each other, right? So getting that little activation. There you go, yes. And now breathing into your right ribs. Fantastic. Left hand's going to stay on the floor. Scoop through the core muscles, rotating through your torso, bringing that right arm across you. Woo. All right, so from there, feeling that big stretch, let's take this shoulder. We're going to squeeze it up to the ear and draw it down. And shrug up and draw down. And one more time, shrug up and draw down. And now opening through this arm, big breath. Let's circle that arm around and reach through. And 2, and reach through. And 1, and reach through. And then reversing that. Circling all the way around and breathing into that. And 2, and reach. Yes. And last 1, and reach. And then draw the abs in and rotate yourself back towards the floor. Walk yourself back to center. Scoop through the abdominal muscles and round yourself all the way back up to sit. Fantastic. Bringing those legs together. Let's go ahead and face the foot end of your workout space. And roll yourself all the way back down, going into a bit of a leg stretch to finish things out today. All right, so from here, let's take the right ankle across your left knee and turn that leg out. Starting first to get some space across these hips. Try to even out the space and even out the hip, I should say, actually. And then weaving the hands behind your left leg, let's bend those knees in. And within this, we want to lengthen the tailbone along the floor as those legs are coming towards you. And as we continue to turn that right leg out, right, getting some good stretch and heat in the back of that right hip. Breathing into that, right? Using the breath, right? So every exhale just releases a little bit less of that tension, right? And then within this, keep the pelvis where it is and slightly shift those legs to your right and then slightly shift the legs to the left and slightly right and slightly left. And one more right and left. And then bring that back to center. Release the left leg down the floor as you hold on behind that right thigh, keeping that leg nice and close. So within this, let's begin to work and activate the muscles around that right knee. Does that mean the leg goes necessarily all the way straight? Not necessarily, right? So feel that out for you. We're going to engage the muscles in the knee as you work the leg long and then release down. And lengthening long and release down. And lengthening long and now keeping it there. See if you can walk your hands up towards the calf or anywhere along the shin that feels good for your stretch. Breathing into that hamstring. We're getting all this wonderful length into the back of the leg. Relax the right hip into the floor. And now flex through the toes and the ankle, right? Bringing this big stretch into the calf and your Achilles, and then point all the way through. And flex all the way back. Long stretch down the back of that leg, and point. And one more time, flex, and point. Now using the whole ankle, let's circle all the way around for 3, and 2, and 1, and reverse that for 3, and 2, and 1. And then lengthening through that leg, take a deep breath, and release. Let's bend the knee in. Left hand comes to your right knee, right arm extends out to the side, abs pulled in first, and let's draw that knee across you into a big spinal twist, reaching across the chest, reaching out through that arm, and breathing into that length as you allow the weight of your right leg to relax you a little deeper into that stretch. And then slowly bring yourself back to center and send that leg down the floor. All right. Legs may feel very different from each other. So let's even that out. Going to reset by softening those knees and placing the feet on the floor. Left ankle over the right knee, turning that leg out, pausing here as you work the hips even first. And then hands weave behind your right leg as you bend in towards you, lengthening the tailbone along the floor in the opposite direction. It's a different hip, right? It may have very different things to say. But addressing this side for what it needs, not necessarily what the other side did. Turning that left leg out a little bit more if you can. Breathing into that. And now shift those legs within the hip sockets to the left and right and left and right. Just kind of feeling out those hips. One more, left and right. And then bringing that back to center. Go ahead and send that right leg down the floor as you hug the left thigh close. Fantastic. And now keeping the thigh here, let's start activating the muscles around the knee as you lengthen that leg all the way up and release down. And lengthening all the way up and release. And one more time like that, lengthen all the way up. And this time, keep it there. Walk your hands down that shin wherever you comfortably can hold. Getting a nice big stretch, long deep breaths here. Right? Might feel a little fiery in that hamstring. Breathing into that as you relax the back of the hip into the floor. And now working the toes and the ankle. Let's flex all the way back. Hello, calf. And point. And flex. And point. One more time. Flex and point. Circling the ankle, use the toes as well for 3 and 2 and 1. And reverse that. 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Lengthening through that leg. Deep, deep breath. And then bending the knee in. Let's go ahead and take that right hand to your left knee. Reach the left arm out to the side. Scoop through the core muscles. And let's bring that leg across you into that spinal twist. Expanding through the shoulder and the chest as you lengthen the body in this long diagonal. And breathe into that stretch. And then slowly bringing yourself back to center and send that leg down the floor. Allowing the feet to be wider than your hips. And let's draw the arms overhead, wider than your shoulders. So you're creating a very large X across the room. Feel this openness in the shoulders, this length across the spine, this warmth you've created through the body. And then allowing the heels to stay connected to the floor. Let's flex and point the feet to generate a bounce that can carry up through those legs, up through the spine, up through the shoulders and the arms, up into the hands, so that we create this little bounce as we are resetting our nervous system, as we're processing any residual stress or strain in the body. We're going to take a long, deep breath. Keep that going. Huge exhale. And one more. And exhale, relax. And just notice that cool sensation across the skin. When you're ready, you can begin moving the fingers and the toes. And then moving the hands and the feet. And then moving the arms and the legs. And then when you're ready, drawing those knees in towards you. Hands can go behind the knees. And let's gently rock ourselves up to sit. And release. Fantastic. Hopefully feeling a little more expansion in the breath and in across your being. So that you're ready to roll into bed or write an amazing masterpiece.